All right, let's see if we've got this. We're turning on the live stream here. Trying to get this into all the right places so people can watch it. I think we're getting a little bit closer. We will start the real stream in about a minute. All right, welcome everyone. It is 10 o'clock and we are going to start the live stream. Quick reminder, please mute when you join so that you won't hear echo. If you do have a question, absolutely feel free to unmute and either put it in the chat or just talk to me directly. I'm going to try something a little different today. So we talked about Google Classroom a little bit yesterday. We talked about getting a kind of a centralized place for everyone to put their work for students to join and to connect with. And so what we're going to do today is talk about recording yourself. So if you're able to record yourself, to provide a video or even just an audio tutorial, to send that out to students. In our case, Google Classroom was kind of the mechanism to be able to share that with students. But this is the way you would record it initially. So as I was thinking about how to do that, I was trying to figure out how I would show recording while I'm actually recording. So we're recording on a Google Hangout. How would we do that at the same time? And I wasn't sure it was a good solution. So the best thing I could come up with is we're actually going to watch another computer. I'm going to switch over here. I've got my tripod here. We're going to turn over to look at a different machine and do it that way. I think that way you can kind of see it in action. We'll go through all of the steps of how to do that, of how you would be able to record yourself, what that would look like, and how you would share that. One thing that I did not note until this morning as I was setting it up is that when you look through your webcam, you're actually looking at it backwards. So all the words on here will be backwards, but I still think you'll be able to follow it along. And as I mentioned yesterday to somebody, I got an email, all these recordings will be saved. Every Hangout that we do here will be recorded and saved and archived, along with show notes and all the links and all the stuff that. So if you miss something, you'll be able to go back and watch it and kind of pause it as you need. The other good news is, as everyone knows, I talk really fast. So if you want to put in half speed, that maybe is not a bad thing, and you can kind of go into whatever speed you like to. Maybe that's normal talking speed, I would guess, for that. So we had about 50 or so people watching yesterday, and we had more watch afterward. And today it looks like we have about the same. As you know, if anybody has questions, either during the call right now or later on. So one question that just came up, is there a link for yesterday's recording? The answer is yes. All of these will be found. I'm going to organize them a little bit better, but all the links, all the recordings, all the pieces will be on rsu19.info. And then I'll have it actually with show notes. So if you go there now, actually I'll do a quick screen share here. Right here. Turn around. So if you go to rsu19.info, you'll be able to see, if I scroll down here, here's our resources we've used so far. If you want to link to that, here's the actual video. So if anybody wants to watch it just passively, meaning they're not interacting, they're not live, then come here and hit play. I will make a link below here. Here are the different show notes. And here are questions. So if you want to ask a question, throw it in here. I will get it, and I'll do my best to answer it. Here are the actual show notes. This is one we're doing today. If you notice down at the bottom here, I'll do it by date. So today, 3/19/20. This was yesterday's show. And I'll actually add the links to the videos right here. So everything will be in one place. Everything will be available to you so that if you miss a day, no big deal. You'll be able to go back. And feel free, if you have a question about something that was in a video that happened the day before or 2 days or whatever, feel free. It's always good to go back and kind of refresh things. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to answer that. So let's see if we've got any quick questions before we dive in. Like I said, today we're going to talk about the process of being able to do screencasting yourself. There's a couple different tools for that. You can use Google Hangouts, or Google Meet. Now, let's start with that vocabulary. Google Meet and Google Hangouts are very, very similar. Google Meet, M-E-E-T, was the paid version of Google Hangouts, and it had some more features that Hangouts did not. Hangouts is a communication tool. You can do texting, you can do video, you can do just audio to communicate with other people. It's kind of built into the Google Suite. Cool. If you do the actual Meet, it just had that plus more. You could actually broadcast it out to thousands of people. You could have up to 250 people in a single Hangout. You also could record it. When this situation presented itself, Google made that free, and so that's why we were able to turn that on for everybody. As we go forward, if there's features here that don't work out as far as some of the things we want to be able to do, we may use other tools for that, but for right now, this seems to work the best, and that's what we're going to stick with. But if you want to record at home, so you want to record a video for your students or for yourself or for whatever reason, this is a couple of ways to do that. One thing that's hard, if you do, I know some people are recording on their phone because phones have nice cameras. That's cool. The problem is it's difficult, not impossible, but difficult to get that recording off the phone. So if somebody records with, let's say, an iPhone, I know we have this with students quite a bit in broadcasting class, where students will go record something cool with their iPhone, looks really good. To get that file off the phone, it's not impossible, it's just difficult. It's a little bit harder than probably it should be. And in fact, the easiest way, I would say, if you wanted to do that, would be to install the Google Drive app and then upload that video file into the Google Drive app. Because the issue is, if the video files are big, as they tend to be, very large, they won't be able to, you can't just email that to yourself. It's too big to send. But if you have Google Drive, you can upload pretty much any size file. And there, once it's up there, that link you can share with other people or students or so forth. And they can just click on it, and there's a player right there. So that is one option if that's where you want to go. The other thing, on your laptop, you can record in Hangouts like I'm doing right now. Even if I did a Hangout that I didn't actually share with somebody else, if I wanted to just make it, accept. So if I was using Google Hangouts to record and I wanted to just keep that video when I'm done, when you're done a recording, you will get a link to a video that's stored right in your Google Drive, and that'll just be stored there. And again, you can do what you want with that. You can share that, you can make it public or private or however you want to manage that. It works very similar to a Google Doc. So if you want to share that with individuals or share that with just certain groups or make it public, you kind of have that option as you will. It does take a little bit for that video to appear in your Google Drive because they're doing a lot of processing there. The other reality too it's worth mentioning is I have to believe all of these online services right now across the United States, if not bigger, are getting hit really hard. They're probably not used to this amount of numbers hitting their servers. So there is a factor. There's sometimes some wait time that we probably wouldn't normally have just to factor in. The last tool that I'm going to show you today, and this is the one that will probably be most useful to a lot of you, is called Screencastify. So Screencastify is one that it works, on Chrome. It doesn't matter if you have a laptop, a PC, a Mac, a Chromebook, whatever you have. It will basically just screen capture your screen or your video or both. And I'll show you different options, what that looks like. And again, once you're recording it, it will record audio or video. When you're done, that video, that component there, that media, you can just share, again, right directly to Google Classroom, and we'll talk about how to do that. You can also, one teacher had asked me to record with Screencastify, even if you don't want video. You can just turn the video off and just do audio. The reason why is not that the recording's any better or worse, is that when the student views it, you know that they have a video viewer, because if they can watch YouTube, they'll have a way to view that video. If they send them an MP3 or an audio file, probably, most likely, they'll be able to play it. But it's sometimes a little bit more wonky. Sometimes there's weird players or whatever. So unless you have a need to, sometimes it's just as easy to do it in video. One question that just popped up, which is a really good one. Does Screencastify limit to only 5 minutes? Good news. The free version, that is correct. However, I'm going to show you today, Screencastify, just like all these other services, have released a free version that you can use. Now, you have to use a little code, so that's what we're going to do today, learn how to do that. So once you've done that, though, that means that your account is unlimited to as far as length goes, up to, I believe it was April 30th is the date that they're going to do that for. So I don't know beyond that, like what the limit actually is. If you can make a 20-hour movie, I don't think so. There are some limits there. And also, again, all these services are going to get hit pretty hard, I imagine. So there might be a lot of wait time. One thing that you'll see that'll happen is when you record a video and you send it to your Google Drive, it says it's processing, and sometimes it can take a little while. What it's doing there, it's doing a couple things, but one thing it's doing is doing what's called Content ID. That means that if you had copyrighted material in your video, the Google themselves would probably shut it down. For example, if I uploaded to YouTube right now, if I was talking, and if my son was playing, music in the background right now that it could hear, like modern copyrighted music, it might close it down, because it has a content ID filter that will pick up on things that are, that are limited. You're not allowed to share that. We actually had experienced this years ago when we were doing the Tech Sherpa show. So our students were recording, doing basically PD like this for teachers. All of a sudden, one of our YouTube videos got flagged, saying it was a copyright violation. And they actually claimed that it was Dutch heavy metal music is what the thing popped up. And so we said, I don't think so. It only took a day. They overruled it, and it was no big deal. But it was just funny that the combination of words that the kids used came out and got read that way. So you shouldn't have a limit of 5 minutes. Somebody asked about the connection. If it is laggy, that very well could be your end. I don't know. You may want to check out speed tests. If you Google speed test by itself, it will show you what your connection speed is. That may be a factor. If the lag is an issue, again, you can watch this later, not live. And so that way you can basically just pause it and let it buffer and watch it as much as you need to. Another question came up. Can a teacher make a Google Classroom not allow student posting comments, but allow commenting on certain pieces of the stream classwork? The short answer is yes. So you can turn off, we did this yesterday, and if you want to watch that video, turning off comments and posting for students so they can just read it. And then if you want them to comment on an individual piece, let's say you have an article or a paragraph you want all the students to read and just comment on that, the way that I would do that is I would put that into a single Google Doc that would share with the entire class and allow them to comment there. And then you would be able to see everything as comments were made. And when you're done, if you want to turn that off, you can turn it back off and say no more commenting. That way it's kind of like you still have the management of that. It's not just open-ended, so that they can't use that and you have to let it go forever. All right, so we're going to jump over to Screencastify. I'm going to turn the camera here, and I'm going to try to use, again, the reason why I'm doing it this way, see if I get it centered here, is so that I can show you how to record while I'm recording with one laptop. It's a little bit tricky to figure out how to do it so that, there we go, so that you could record while it's actually doing it at the same time. The other thing is I do realize it is backwards. As I turn on, let's turn some more light in here. As I was working on this and I noticed the video, so I'm going to work on the end result and reverse it so that the video will be backwards. But I'm just signed in right now to my sample account, the one that is like the kind of Stuart Dent, we mentioned the student account, as if I'm a new teacher here. I've never seen this one before using this stuff. The first thing I would do is if you go to rsu19.info, the same page you're on here, if I scroll down, you'll notice that, scrolling here, on the right side, here are the show notes for today. So these are the steps that you would use, and they're right on that same website, that you would use to be able to turn on Screencastify for yourself, to make it basically be unlimited, so it's not just 5 minutes. Step number 1, they say visit this page first. So we're going to go through this process together. So I'm going to click on that link, open this page. I'm going to sign in with Google right here. And again, I do realize it's backwards, but I think you'll be able to follow along. Choose my account name. Give it a second. So I connected with my Google account. Okay, right here, it's $30 per user typically. I'm going to redeem coupon. Okay, so the code, if I go back over here, I can copy and paste it, or I can just, type it in if I want to. It's CAST_COVID, cast COVID with an underscore in between. So I can paste that in there, cast COVID, click OK. And now I can activate license. All right, if you haven't installed the extension yet, this account already had done that, but if you haven't, it should be pushed to your Chromebooks. So you already should have this. It looks like this little orange arrow pointing to the right up in your toolbar up here. If you don't, you can click on that link, or you can Google Screencastify. If I go to screencastify.com, I can add to Chrome right here, and you can go through the process. When you add to Chrome, it'll ask you a couple of questions like, do you allow video to be used? Yes. Do you allow to connect to Google Drive? Yes. So you want to say yes to those things. And once you've done that, then you'll have it up top here. So let's say I want to record something with my little Screencastify icon now. I can click that little icon up to the top here. This window's going to load. Okay, so this is the first time I've logged in with this. So it's going to ask, do I want to sign in with my Google account? Yes. Sign in with Google. This is a little bit of a pain the first time, but again, once you've gone through this process once, you won't have to do it again. Connect to my account. I'm going to click Allow. Set permissions. Camera and microphone. Drawing and annotation tools. Yes, I want those. Allow. Allow, again, basically you're giving this app permission to be able to use your camera and microphone. You can do this if you want. Introduce yourself. I'm an educator. I work in grade school. And now we're ready to go. Hooray. Okay, so let's start recording. Let's see what it looks like. Let me jump back over here for a second. So if I click on this icon now, you'll notice this little menu will pop up. Here are my options. A browser tab. If I want to record just a tab, let's say I was going to, let's say I go to this website right here. So I want to do a screen capture and a screen video of this website. I could have this tab up. I could click on that little icon, and it would just record the browser tab with my audio. So I could say, hey guys, I want you to go to this website and look at this article or watch this video or read this thing. So that's an option. I can also do the entire desktop. Now, the entire desktop means it will be all the tabs. So if I want to jump back and forth between one tab to another, I would be able to do that. And then finally, webcam only. If I only wanted to do a video and only have myself, I could just do webcam. I'm going to show desktop for a second. Underneath here, microphone. Now, most likely you're just going to have one. This one only has two. It's really the same one. If you have an external mic, cool. You can add that. If you have like a Yeti mic or one of the Snowball mics, most likely you just use that microphone right there. Embed webcam. Click on that. And again, you'll most likely have one video here. So you'll notice in a second here, it'll pop up. See the webcam. That's why, too, when I mentioned about why I wasn't able to put this on the Hangout, because I'm going to be using this webcam right here to be able to show you how it works. Do I have a countdown? Yep, that looks good. Show drawing tools. Again, you may have like an article up there. Let's say, for example, I'm doing a math problem and I want to draw, quote unquote, draw on the math problem. I could have the article up and I can draw on top of it and kind of show them what the students, what that would look like. That's an option. It's not perfect with a touchpad, but it's not too bad. System audio. So if I need the audio to come through from the computer itself. So for example, if I wanted the dings and beeps and boops that would come from the computer, that's what I would use. And show webcam preview. I'm going to show this here and you'll see it down at the bottom in a second. So I'm going to click record. Here's my webcam. I'm going to put myself in it so you guys can see me. Here I am. Again, I'm getting a little inception here. I have a video camera of a video camera. Here's my entire screen. So I'm going to share this entire screen here. Share. Okay, give my countdown. 3, 2, 1. And I am now recording. I can move my video here if I want to. So this, like if I want to put this up in the upper corner, hey, every guys, all you students, I want you to look at Do the 5, help stop the coronavirus. So I'm going to click on that link, and you notice how it's still live here. And I can look through here, Do the 5, hands, wash them often, elbow, cough into it, face, don't touch it, feet stay more than 3 feet apart, feel sick, stay home. Okay, cool. If I want to draw on this, I can click the pen, and maybe I want to underline. Don't forget your hands. Make sure you wash them. Or I can record. I can erase if I need to. I can change colors, of course, if I want to change. So really make sure you wash your hands. All that kind of cool stuff. When I'm done, so this all looks pretty good. I'm happy with this video. I'm going to click up on this little link in the upper right, back on my little icon, the orange arrow there. Right now it shows it's recording. I'm going to stop it. Notice there too, you can pause it. So if you want to pause it and come back to it, that's an option too. So here's the tour. And if you do this the first time, you'll get this tour. I'm going to skip it right now because I'm going to show you some things. But this will show you the tutorial kind of step by step, each piece here. So I'm going to skip this tour. Now, one thing, okay, so here's my video. If you notice up in the upper right now, it's saving to drive. So here's my options here. We'll go through those. Here's my video. So if I move this around, you'll see like, here it is as I play it. I was moving around here. If I want to trim it, I can cut the ends. I can trim it down from one end, and I can trim it from this end. And that's pretty much my edit options. There are some other edit options I'll show you in a second, but those are the big ones. So I can cut the ends. So let's say I started, but I didn't want the first couple seconds for whatever reason. I can save that trim. And I'm going to cut this on. Yep, I'm going to totally trim that link, and now it's going to cut those ends kind of together. We'll take a second here. Okay, if I'm happy with this is a video, I like it, I've watched it, looks good. Here are my options over here. Let's click the share. It is saved right now on Google Drive. That's probably where you want it. Again, Google Drive gives you unlimited space, so that's the best place to do it. If I click share, now right now the problem is if I share this, it's going to share it as called Untitled March 19th, 2020. And again, if my student's going to watch that, that's too cumbersome. Let me pause it here. So I'm going to click up here on the title, and I'm going to call this, let's see, recording of Screencastify. So I would be, that's not a great name, but I would actually be really mindful of, again, if you have a number of these, you're going to want to call them maybe in order by number, maybe, connected to an assignment, unit 2, assignment 3, or something like that, so that it's really easy to find when you connect those. Okay, so here's my share options here on the right. I can share it directly to Classroom. So if you already have a Classroom set up and I want my students to watch this, I can click share. It's going to ask me. Again, this is one of those things you have to do one time. Do you allow it? I'm going to choose which classes. If I had multiple classes, I could do that. I only have one class right now. So I'm going to share it to my home learning class, what we set up yesterday. What's my option? Do I make this as an assignment? Do I want them to not only watch it, but do feedback? Do I want to ask a question? Do I want to make an announcement? So some of the difference with these, we talked a little bit about these, but an assignment means there's going to be a grade associated with it, and you're expecting something back. So maybe if I was going to connect that to an assignment and say, oh, I want you to watch this video and give me feedback. A question is kind of like a poll. So you might just say, watch this video, did you like it or not like it? And you actually can put in multiple choice questions. So it's a pretty kind of narrowed down thing, and you as a teacher would receive the results of that immediately. So you'd say, oh, out of the 20 students, 15 said they liked it, 5 said they didn't, or one said, I don't know, or whatever. Make an announcement. An announcement is pretty much just a one way where you're going to put out there like a post. We're going to put it out there. They're going to see it. they're going to watch it, and that's it. They're not really expected to interact with it that much. And then finally, creating material. Material are things that you would keep throughout the year. So if you think about it, let's say you have class rules that you're going to post on the wall and you want to keep them throughout the year. It's not a one-time thing. You're going to keep revisiting it throughout the year. You might have a video that says, hey, if you're ever not sure where to go, I'm going to give you a little explainer about how to use this tool or whatever it is. So these are things that are going to stay throughout the year. We'll do this as an assignment. Actually, we'll do this as an announcement right now because we're not going to expect anything back. I'm going to click go. Here are my options. This should look familiar from yesterday. Let me magnify that. So here's my recording. Which students do I want to see it? I'll say everybody. I'll just put in as a little note, please watch. And again, I can post it, or I can say I want to schedule the post so it would come up tomorrow. I'll post this right now, and this will post up as an announcement. Let's view it, see what it looks like in Google Classroom. Here it is. I'll look down here. Here is this video. And so the students would click on that, and they could watch it. Again, you can set up if you want them to make a comment or not, and so forth. A couple other options in here that it's worth sharing. So that was sharing directly to Classroom. And again, that's super helpful. Publishing to YouTube. So if you were going to do something, let's say you're going to do a whole series of videos that you want to do, like 10 videos that you want to share, and you want to kind of keep them organized. Like, for example, what we're going to be doing with these PD, I'm referencing what we did yesterday in Google Classroom. Well, if you weren't able to make it yesterday, you may want to go back and watch the one yesterday. So the easiest way to do that would probably be a YouTube channel that will just have all the different videos linked up. So that's one option right there, publish directly to YouTube. Get an embed code. That would be, we might revisit this when we talk about Google Sites at some point, but an embed code is where you would copy a snippet of code and you would paste that in a certain way into a website. If you look at back here on our rsu19.info page, right here, this video right now, that's not, I'm not clicking play, but it's right here. That was an embed code for us to be able to embed that into the site. And we can show you, how that works and how to do that. Send in an email. An email will work if you send it directly to somebody, and as long as that recording is public. And so if you're sending it to somebody or shared with them, they have to have access to it. Think of it like a Google Doc or a Google slide or whatever else in Google, where it's either shared privately, publicly, or with a certain amount of people. Generate a QR code. So this is pretty cool. If you had a QR code, let's say you wanted to post something in your classroom at some point, in your physical classroom, you want students to be able to walk around, with a device that could read it, it would go directly to that video. So if we wanted, at some point having different, QR codes around the room and they could kind of beep on it and it would go directly to it, that's an option. We can download right here. So download, we have the video and you have a copy of it. Export as MP4. Again, that's another video type. That's probably the most common. So if I was going to share this with the most people and not directly through Google links, through Classroom and so forth, I would probably export it as an MP4. Export audio only, just like it sounds. If you want to just have the audio from this piece, you don't want to actually have video, or you don't want to have anything else, just the audio component, that's how you would do that. Export animated GIF. So this isn't 100% foolproof because there is a size limitation, but if you had a short video and you want to make an animated GIF out of that, and if you guys have seen memes that have little characters dancing around or things that are moving that are a single image, that is an animated GIF. So this is one option to do that. One question that came up, will Screencastify work on a phone or a tablet too? Depending-ish. So it depends on what you're doing. You can try, I would say, depending on what tablet, if you're using an iPad, there's actually a built-in screen recorder built right into iPads now, and the modern ones, that might be a better solution. It's more designed for PCs or desktops, laptops, but it's actually worth a try. Go ahead and try it on if you have an Android tablet or depending on, again, what flavor phone you have or tablet you have, it can make a difference. The last thing I'll share here, I'm going to click on Open in Editor. So if I wasn't happy with just those trimming abilities, this gives me a little bit more editing capability. But again, as it notes on here, it is beta, so that makes a difference as far as what we can do with it. Somebody asked about the closed caption ability. So when you have videos, there is built-in closed captioning into sometimes. Like if you ever watch a YouTube video and turn on auto closed captioning, those little, the black text at the bottom will come up. All I will say is this. If you share that with students and you want to turn on closed captioning, you need to make sure you watch it with closed captioning first. I've had situations where video was perfectly fine, perfectly innocent, but the translation came across as not appropriate for younger kids. So just make sure, it's no big deal. You make sure go in and watch it first. If you've watched it, it looks good, you're good to go. If it doesn't, there are ways to be able to actually overwrite the closed captioning, but I'm not going to get into that right now, but there's ways to do that. So here we are into the editor. As I mentioned, the initial one was just trimming from both ends. This is a little bit more complex. This one, you actually, can do more things. You can cut and you can paste and move stuff around. So here's a step-by-step tutorial. I'm going to close that out right now. I can add clips. So if I have multiple videos I've taken, I can add text here. If I want to add something on top. And there we go. So you get the idea. And I can clip here. Underneath here, I can cut it. So if you have, let's say I want to cut it in the middle, I can use this crop tool right here. I can cut that. Draw a rectangle. So I'm going to crop from here to here. And it will cut it. I would say kind of play around with this because as you get better at it, as you get more and more videos, you have a couple of them. I don't know if I have another video. In fact, I know I don't. On this account, I don't have 2 videos to kind of splice together. But you could record a number of different videos and then put them all together as one big one. And again, the same process would work. I would download that new edited video together and give that to students as one big one. Upload it to Google Drive or directly into Google Classroom. All right. So somebody asked about adding the code to be able to do longer videos. If you go to RSU9, the details, if you scroll down a little bit, the details are right there under the show notes. So basically, being able to, like, it gives you the step-by-step instructions right there. Any links or kind of step-by-step instructions throughout these Hangouts that I'm doing right now, I will show them as best I can as far as video, but I'll also put the steps in text. So you can like click a link and follow that that position. There's also a video tutorial already on there that they gave us, which is kind of handy. Oh, that's good. It wasn't backwards. All right. Other questions. So I'm looking at the some of the questions that came in the other day from the Hangout on the forum. One was, oops, let me see if I can see it behind here. One was using the Google Hangout to share the screen. Now, I was doing 2 things, and we'll continue with this. Is I was doing a Hangout with our staff, our 19 staff. We did have other people from other districts joining us, and I imagine that will keep growing as we go forward. I don't know. But if that does, we want them to have the opportunity as well if they have questions. So the way it's set up right now, this is actually set up so that there will be just our in-house, in our domain, going forward as far as connecting, and then I'm going to live stream it to YouTube so other people can watch it. And so I'm also going to set it up probably this weekend, hopefully if I have time, so that they can see our screen as we're doing it. So we won't have to do this kind of setup where I'm actually physically moving a camera around. I think I'll be able to do that. One of the other questions that just came up was about a STEAM course this summer we did in the past. The short answer is yes. I mean, all things we don't know, obviously. Well, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, there is a scheduled course this summer up at Bangor, up at EMCC, Eastern Maine Community College, in June. It would be after school's done. Again, I have no knowledge at this point if it is still on. As far as I know, it is. But I'm sure as we get closer, we'll have more information about that. Somebody asked, Yvonne asked about Hangout being called Meet. Basically, think of them now as the same thing. They were different because initially Hangout was the free version and Google Meet was basically the paid version that had more features. But because they've allowed Google Meet to be able to be free for education, then that basically they're kind of the same thing now. And I'm not sure how long that will be. But these features, for example, our ability to record it and our ability to broadcast live are things that were not built into Hangouts, but are built into Google Meet now. So again, it's confusing. Google loves their communication platforms. They have a number of them. They've got about 4 or 5 of them now. So it's kind of hard to narrow one down. But as of right now, Google Meet has really been able to do all the pieces that we needed to for them to work out. All right. I don't see any other questions here. Okay, so I was going to show a couple other things. And one thing I was going to show, we talked about Google Classroom yesterday, and we didn't go through all the different options that you had. We talked about assignments, but we really didn't go them all. So I was going to finish with that. It's kind of a part 2 to our Google Classroom question. And that'll probably bring us to the end of the hour or so, and then we'll wrap up. And again, as we go forward, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat or throw them on the questionnaire Google form. I'm going to do a screen share here. And there's the phone. Hopefully one of my boys will pick that up. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is sign in. And I'm not sure which account I'm on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in so you can screen share from my Google Classroom. And the idea being you can see the other options that we have to post. So let me do a screen share here. Okay, you should be able to see in a minute or a second presenting the entire screen. And right now, again, you'll see myself. So I'm going to go to Google Classroom. And I just want to make sure you are seeing that. Looks like you are. Okay. So I'm going to pull up. I've got too many browsers going right now, but I'm going to pull up and sign into that same account, that same teacher's account, Student Dent. Quickly here. Now, okay, and we're going to go to Google Classroom. So normally I would use Chrome in this, but I've got it already kind of spec'd out for the streaming, so this is what we're going to use. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see that okay. Let me just double check. It looks like everybody's good. So we are going to switch over here. See my screen. Okay, so what we're going to do this one, I'm going to go back to Classroom, and we're going to talk about how we are going to do the add other things besides assignments. So I'm going to click on my waffle up in the upper right-hand corner, go down to Classroom. Here is my classroom as a teacher right now. Again, I'm on as Stuart Dent, I'm a teacher. Get rid of this. Here's the post I just made. Remember, I just made a recording of the, and I uploaded it here. So this is kind of that dummy post that we just started talking about. Oops. Put down a little bit. You can see that. Okay. So now we're going to add a new type of assignment. Go back to classwork. Yesterday we did an essay. Click create. We did an assignment. Now we'll do a quiz assignment. So quiz assignment, just like they sound, an assignment can be open-ended. It could be an essay. It could be a slideshow. It could be a lot more open-ended. The quiz assignments are going to be more, multiple choice type things. So they're actually going to say like, what quiz, 10 questions, and here's just the answers. So I'm going to click on quiz assignment. I got it. This is called home quiz. Instructions. Blank quiz. So this is going to give me a form. So if you've used Google Forms, and we will do one day, probably just a whole day, just on Google Forms because they're so powerful. But we'll just use their template for today. Here's another interesting thing: locked mode on Chromebooks. So if your students are using managed Chromebooks, which your kids at schools are, you can actually give them a quiz through this and turn that on. And when they open the quiz and use it, they become a kiosk mode. What that means is they can basically only look at the but the quiz itself. They can't jump over to other tabs and stuff. And so that's really helpful if you think about it. If you're trying to get them to do kind of an actual quiz that you only want them to be on that one page. All the other type of stuff is the same. I have number of students I can do. I have how many points. Do I give a due date? Topics, rubrics, all that same type of stuff that we've done before. I'm going to open up this blank quiz template. Okay, so here's my blank quiz. I'm going to call this, I'm going to turn off the tour. I always want you to tour. It's worth doing that the first time if you're not comfortable finding your way around. So we're going to call this one All About Me. And this is one that I do with my students, and I have them talk about, you think about kids, what's the most thing they like to talk about? Themselves. So we actually have them do a Google form where they ask each other questions about themselves. Things like, how many pets do you have? How many brothers and sisters do you have? What's your favorite color? All that kind of stuff. And so it's just a fun way to learn about forms. We'll do a whole episode about that. I'm not going to do that today because it'll take the whole time, but I'll go through that whole process. What I'll ask in this case right here is put on your name. I'll turn that into short answer. Okay, and I'm going to add one question here. I'm going to say, what is the school mascot? Okay, this is a multiple choice question, right? So it's going to be a definite right and wrong answer. So I'm going to put in here, we'll put in the Warriors, and then I'll put a couple other wrong answers. I'll say we are the Bulldogs, we are the Eagles, and we are the Panthers. Okay. So I have one correct answer here. If I go down to my answer key, click on that, I can choose which one is the right answer. Okay, how many points is that worth? In this case, I'm going to say that's worth 100 points. So this is one answer. The other cool thing here is I can give answer feedback. So if I want to, I can say, if they gave the right answer, I could say, nice job. If they gave the incorrect answer, I could type, try again or try harder or something, but I could also put a direct link. So think about this in this situation. If kids are taking a quiz at home, let's say right now they're taking a quiz that you want them to kind of do, and they have one question that you notice that a lot of them are getting wrong, you could put a link right here or a video, a YouTube video, to a resource that would help them with that question. That's that idea of just-in-time learning where they have a question, they're not sure, they have the wrong answer, and it goes directly to them. Here's where that information is. As you go forward and you start developing more of your resources online, you could link that directly to the part of your lesson where you covered that. So that's super helpful as we go forward. That looks pretty good. We click done. Okay, so that's our one question, your name and what school mascot, and that's the right answer. Again, we'll do a whole session on forms because forms they can be complicated, but they're pretty powerful too, so they have a lot going on. I'm gonna go back to my Google Classroom here. This looks pretty good. I'm going to assign it right now. If I go back to my stream, I have right here at the top, I posted a new assignment called Home Quiz. And if I click on that, this is what it looks like. Let me show you what it would look like from a teacher's perspective. Excuse me, from a student's perspective. So as a student, I see this. Oh, Mr. Dent just posted a new assignment right here, Home Quiz. Click on that. All right, here's my, let me exit out of that. Here's my All About Me form. I'm going to fill this out. Here's my quiz. Okay, so my name. Now, this is really important. You'll notice I could type anything I want here. I'm actually Mr. Beach. I'm going to say that I'm him. I'm going to answer the wrong answer here. But if you notice at the top here, your email address, kkelly@rstundt.net, is recorded. So even if you put in the wrong name here, it will actually come out to be connected to you. So I'm actually going to put the right name in here. I'm going to change the right answer. And I'm going to submit my response. And in this case, I can view the score as a student, and I can say what I got. Oh, I got 100. Nice job. Again, if it was wrong, I could click that link right there to show me, oh, where do I need to go find out more about that information? As I said, we'll do a whole thing about Google Forms to kind of get more detailed. So if you want to add images or videos or all kinds of cool stuff with forms. You'll also notice here from a teacher's perspective, I now can see that one student has completed it. One still needs to do their assignment, but one is finished. And so that's really helpful as well. Let me go back here, go back to classwork. So I've now done an assignment, which is due tomorrow. I've now done a quiz, which we just did. I'm now going to click Create, assignment, quiz, a question. So a question would be the type of thing you would probably typically do in class, meaning everybody's in class sitting there. Hey guys, did everybody, ask a quick question? How did everybody feel about this unit? Good job, needs more work, needs more help. Really a quick kind of status of the class. So if I click on question here. So let's say, what is your fave school lunch? A quick question. Now, I don't necessarily want a short answer here. I'm going to do multiple choice. I'm going to say, okay, is it pizza? Is it Sloppy Joe's? Or is it my favorite, rodeo burger? If you didn't know about the rodeo burger, I didn't eat either until my boys told me about what the rodeo burger was. I'd never heard of it before. So I'm doing a questionnaire for my students as a multiple choice. So I'm only giving them these options to choose from. Again, if I want to score it, all that kind of stuff, I can do the same thing. In this case, I'm not going to. It's just me a one-off. Hey, what's your guys' favorite school lunch? And let them kind of answer it right there. If I click Ask and go back to what it looks like from a student's perspective here, okay? So Mr. Dent, as a student, I just posted a new question. What's your favorite school lunch? I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say, oh, my answer is pizza. Turn it in, and I'm done. That's just like a quick question. Turn in. And now right here, you notice it shows how many students chose which thing. You may not want that. You may want to hide that so that they can't see each other's answers, right? That might be an option. So if I go back here, I'm going to edit this one. Now, normally I would do it as I'm asking it, but I have the option here to say what happens. Can they see each other's? Right here, students can see a class summary. So if I uncheck that now, they won't see the results of each other's questions. And in fact, I might change this. Let's say if I don't change this to a multiple choice, if I had it as a short answer, hey, if you have any questions, please ask me directly. They could fill that out, and they wouldn't want to see each other's answers, so they could just see, you would see them, but nobody else would. So that's an option. So we've got our assignment. Oops, we're at classwork. We've got our assignment, a quiz assignment, a question, and material. Now, material is, as I mentioned, is something that's going to be there for the entire duration. So let me go create something first. This is like we talked about yesterday, where if I have, whoops, let me jump to a Google tab. If I want to share something as a template, I have to create it first, just like if I'm going down to the photocopier, making 20 copies. So in this case, I'm going to make my template first, and then I'm going to share with the class. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to create a new document. And I'm going to create class rules. These are things that I want students to always have access to, always kind of know where they are, so they're not like hidden away. This might be a syllabus. This might even be a template where, let's say you give them like a reading log that you want them to keep make copies of throughout the year. This could be this in here. So I'm going to say this is class rules. This is something that I want them to have throughout the year. We'll do like this. As a reminder, I mentioned yesterday, whenever you type the first couple of words, the first sentence here, if I click on untitled document, this will be there. Rule number 1, wash hands. Rule number 2, social distancing, etc., etc. Tis the season, right? All right, so now I have my class rules. Now I have the my template. I'm going to share this as material. That means I always have access to it. So I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom. I'm going to create material. This is called class rules. I'm going to add my Google Drive. Here's my class rules right here. I'm going to add those, and now I'm going to post them, so they'll always be available. One quick note, you can create right from here. If I want to create a document right from here, there's another option. It basically goes to the same place. So I'm going to click on that. Now you notice here it is. It looks a little bit different. It's got like a book icon. I'll go back to the stream here. Okay, so here's my materials. Okay, if I look at that from a student's perspective, I'm now on as a student, and I can see Mr. Dent posted a new material class rules. Let me click on that, and I can see it as a student, but it's view only. I can't edit it. I can just look at it however I want to. I can see it. That looks cool, but that's not going to help me if I want to try to change it. So there's Mr. Dent on right now. All right. One last type of material here, or type of assignment, as we mentioned, into assignments, material, reuse post. So this is helpful, especially, I get to ask this question a lot. If I want to, have a course and I want to kind of reuse courses from last year for certain individual assignments, like things that are already done. So if you have a single classroom that is set up as some of your assignments, I can click on this and I can choose, here's my class, I only have one right now in this account, but I can choose previous assignments and send them. Let's say I want to ask what's the favorite lunch once a week, or how'd you do it this unit, every time at the end of every unit or something. I could reuse them without having to recreate it each time. So I click reuse and it would send it again, just like before. And then the final one on that list right here is a topic. So basically, what topics, we talked about before, I believe I only have, let's see here, I think I only have home learning right here as topics. On the left side, these are kind of like units. So these will organize, let's create a new topic here. We'll go back to classwork, home learning, and we'll create a topic called, let's see, we're gonna do a unit on frogs, say, I'm gonna add that. Now over on the left side here, I can organize these by how I want. If I wanted that home quiz right here to appear in that topic, I can click over here on the right. Okay, there's the frogs topic. Click on that once I save it. So these are all topics. Now under frogs, I have this quiz. And now under home learning, I have that essay that I did. So kind of a sub-organizational process for you, a way to do that. Back to the stream here. All right. And I think with that, let me turn off. Oops. Turn off presenting. This is getting complicated here. I've got a lot of different, there we go. Got a lot of different videos inside of videos. I will, just so everybody knows, so my plans this weekend when I have a little time is to build a little bit better system here that's a little bit more easy to watch and follow. I know this is a little bit crazy, but I think we're doing okay. Let's go look at some of the questions here that come up. Thank you guys for asking. That's great. Question came up about meetings, IEPs, and being able to see all participants. If you click on the video, so if you're in a Hangout and you have 5 or 6 people or 10 people or however many people in there, you'll see in the upper right there's a little people counter, and you can click on that, and you'll see a list. And you'll also see if you want to see individual videos, if there are multiple people that are on, you just click on your picture in the middle, and you'll see that their pictures will show up. Their little boxes, depending on how many people there are. The other thing that you can do if you want is if there's a little thumbtack, it looks like, if you click that thumbtack, it will pin that video, that person, on the main screen. So if you have some person that you want to have up there for whatever reason, it will do that. And one other quick note, if you do need to record, now I don't know if you're recording IEPs or not or whatever, or any video, but if you need to record, in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little 3 dots that look like, more settings. Click on that, and there's a choice right there that says record meeting. It will record it. When you're done with that, that will go directly into your Google Drive as a video. You can do what you will with that. Because the other question is, creating a form for each assignment, the best approach for organizing student work in Google Classroom, or is there a better option? That's hard. That's a hard thing to say across the board. The biggest thing, the #1 recommendation I would make is be mindful. Think ahead of your naming conventions. If you call them assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, and then next month with another unit, you're calling it assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, it gets stuff really confusing. But if you're thoughtful about what you name them, you'll be better off. I might add that tomorrow as a unit of what, kind of a good practices, best practice around naming, assignments and lessons. Because it's for 2 reasons. One is for you, for your own sanity, to keep track of where all those assignments are going. And as we know, Google Drive gets filled up and cluttered very, very quickly. Google's, for right or wrong, their kind of philosophy with that is that you will search for your work later on, not necessarily, put it into a folders. And one of the reasons there, it makes sense. We have so much work going through all the time that we don't have time to organize stuff as much as we'd like to. So us being able to just, search for stuff later on, it makes sense if we name it. So as you're creating these things, you want to be really mindful. I'll do a piece tomorrow, as I mentioned, about good practices around naming conventions. So I would say for the assignment, is it better to do a Google Classroom form or your individual form? It really comes down to your preference. I don't think there's a better or worse there. In Google Classroom, if you create a quiz, it is in effect creating a form, period. There's a couple features that are not built into forms that are built into that. The main one is your ability to lock down, Chromebooks while they're taking that quiz. To be honest with you, I don't know that I would use that in this situation. I might if I was in a classroom. If I was in a classroom looking at kids and I said, okay, guys, time for your quiz. You're going to get 10 minutes. Go. And it just locks down their screen for that, that might be fine. I don't know that I would lock them down remotely because, yeah, they have that screen up there, but unless you're in the room with them, you don't know if they're just, cheating, grabbing another machine, their phone or another device, so I don't know how useful that would really be. How do I post a picture into the stream and not as an attachment? So yes, I like to do attachments. I'll show you that. Maybe I'll post that. We're kind of running up against the clock here. But I'll post that. We'll go back into Classroom again. There's some other classroom specific things that we haven't really talked about that I want to, some of the more settings, gradebook. I will throw this out there. This is not a done deal yet, but I do know that there is an API, which is an application programming interface, a program to be able to connect Infinite Campus and Google Classroom. Now I say that we haven't done it yet. It's still, just new. It's fairly new. But if that comes to be, it might be a situation where you're able to put scores in one, like Google Classroom say, and have that appear in the other one. But we'll have to figure that out and let you know. Let's see. Make sure I get everybody's questions. That's Inception, yes. Can you attach pre-made sheets in Classroom? So the short answer is yes. In fact, that's what you want to do. I would make my sheets, just like if I had a photocopier, I'd go make my templates first, make my sheets first, and then attach them as you want. That's usually what I do. In fact, I'd probably have a folder called, Science Classroom. Here's my and just add them as I need to. I will show you when we do a section on Drive a little bit more, I'll show you too how you can have basically the equivalent of handouts in digital form. So let's say you have a doc or a slideshow that you have it formatted a certain way, and you want students just to be able to take as many as they want, like they don't have to wait for you to share it with them. It's a really easy way to do that. I'll show you how to do that so that kids can take things like, let's say they had to do a daily journal, or you want them to kind of, take something, copies of it like consistently. That'll be another way to do it. Another question that came up, specific training on younger grades. Use Classroom when kids don't have a ton of technology practice. Can they take already made worksheets or only docs? What I would do is we'll talk about this, is transferring a ready-made worksheet into a Google Doc so that you could share it. Now, if you have a kindergartner, the kindergartner or first grader isn't going in necessarily and downloading and printing it, but it would be there for mom and dad. So if they wanted to take this worksheet and print it out, that would just be an easy way to organize it. It's not that the Google Doc is the end all. It's that if you have that assignment that you want, by putting it into a Google Doc, it's already web-based, it's already shareable. It just makes a good format that they can get to, rather than giving it as for example, like a Word doc. If you email the Word doc, that's cool if they have Word. So if they don't have Word, what happens now is actually it tries to convert it into a Google Doc for that reason. So I will go over some practices about how do I take non-digital work and transfer it into the digital sphere. So how can I take a worksheet and put it into a Google Doc or something like that? We'll do a whole section about that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. It sounds like that's probably the next question. Good question. Can you post a resource to a file you have teacher pay teachers? Copyright question. That's a good question. I don't have the answer off the top of my head about that because it really comes down to whatever the rights are. If teachers pay teachers, when you receive that thing, if it's Creative Commons where you're able to share it freely and so forth, then yes. If it's only classroom use, I don't know. In this digital kind of age right now, we're kind of going back and forth between physical and the digital components. There's some kind of gray area about that. So I'd have to look at the actual rights for that specifically. Typically speaking, your virtual classroom, we're talking about Google Classroom, is the digital equivalent of your physical classroom. What that means is there's nobody outside getting into it, and the students inside aren't necessarily going out through Classroom. Now, maybe other means, but not through Classroom. So you can generally think of it that way. So if you're able to share something in a classroom setting, in the classroom, in the physical classroom, then it's probably the same in this virtual one. Again, unless they have a specific note in their copyright that doesn't allow that, but I would be surprised if that's the case. And the other question that came up real quickly was a Google Voice, can a parent call that phone number back? The answer is yes. It's like having its own separate phone number that you manage, and you can use it for, it's connected to your phone only in the sense that you can answer with it. You can use that as your tool, your device to answer with, but it's its own phone number, it's its own texting number. Like I said, I am going to do a section on that. I'm just trying to get these in order that make the most sense. We started with Classroom, it's kind of our stage. Now we did recording, so we were able to kind of add to Classroom, and then we'll go on. I'll probably do tomorrow, my plan is to do on Google Drive as far as how do you create some of these documents, how do you digitize these non-digital tools, and how does that work? And so that's probably what we'll do tomorrow. But we'll keep adding. Please keep the questions coming, because if anything you put on that Google form, that's great for me to kind of plan ahead. And let me know if anything comes up. As I mentioned, I'm going to stay really tight to the time frame. I've got 11:59 right now, so I want everybody to be respectful of their time, and I have more meetings to do after this. So thank you all very much. We will see you again tomorrow on Friday. Yay, Friday. Bye.